Hey everybody, welcome back. Force here, returning with some more Overwatch news. Got a couple of interesting stories for you today, including the ability to shoot enemies standing behind you, shots appearing not to register even though they look to hit, and the final teams for the inaugural Overwatch League season. So let's start things off with this strange thing that's showed up today. We had a video showcasing what looked to be a glitch of Diva, Mei, Lucio, Mercy, and Zenyatta all being able to shoot targets standing behind them. Now, this looks to happen if you are physically close to the target behind you, even if you're aiming in the opposite direction. It's likely that this is because of basically where the location of the projectiles being fired physically begins, and then the size of the hitbox hero standing behind you extending past that point, so that even though you're not facing them and you're looking in the opposite direction, your shots, as soon as they leave the gun, immediately hit the hitbox of the hero that's behind you. So it's really, logically, I think it makes sense, at least based on my understanding of how projectiles and hitboxes work in this game. Now, the footage that was shown was in the training room, but reportedly this can also happen in actual matches as well. I might dive into this more and do a video exclusively on this, testing it and kind of see how deep the rabbit hole goes and who this counts to, who you can hit, who's standing behind you. It's really strange. Also, another thing that's kind of not hitbox related, but related to gameplay mechanics is the idea of shots landing but not counting, or the technical term is not registering. So the clip that showed here today shows Hanzo firing 2 shots in a play of the game that appear to clearly connect, but it doesn't actually count. Now, we see the connection animation showing that little pop. Now, this, my assumption, is an issue with the hit registration and could simply be that the Hanzo player's client shows a hit happening, but when that data gets sent out to the Blizzard servers and checks with the player who he's shooting at, it actually was a miss. And so the animation of hitting still takes place, but the server info comes back milliseconds later and doesn't register it as a hit, and so no damage is done. I think that's what it might be. Again, it's with my limited understanding of how this whole thing works. Now, there was a similar clip that actually came up a couple of weeks ago from popular Widowmaker player Kefri, and it looks to again be clearly a shot that hits, but no damage is registered, no damage is done. So clearly there's something going on, whether or not it's just a discrepancy between the player shooting, the connection to the server, and then the player that they're shooting at. Again, it's my assumption that that's what it is, but it's obviously frustrating on your end of shooting a target, clearly having it hit, but then the damage not counting. And then finally today, I wanted to just go into a bit of esports news and mention that the final teams for the inaugural Overwatch League season have been announced. It's going to be 12 teams. We've got Seoul, Shanghai, London, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Florida, Houston, Dallas, San Francisco, and then 2 teams in Los Angeles. Now, what's interesting about this is the lack of international teams. When they first announced the first few teams for the Overwatch League, people complained that there wasn't a lot of teams, say in Europe, or basically outside of the United States. There are very few teams. Now, I don't know the exact reason why this is. There might be some legal hangups. It could just be a financial thing. You know, it costs quite a bit of money to register for the Overwatch League. And then there's also the idea that, you know, this is a US-based company, so it's not that surprising that a majority of the teams are from the United States. But on the other side of it, we got a lot of fans and a lot of players of Overwatch outside of the US, and it'd be good if they were represented as well. So I'm hoping that this is just the case for this first season of Overwatch League, and as consecutive seasons happen, we get more and more international teams. That is certainly the hope. Now, the first season will be beginning next year on Wednesday, January 10th, 2018. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Blizzard does with this. They've said they've got a lot of things in the work to make the viewership and just watching the competitive Overwatch scene more interesting, more engaging, and easier to follow. So, you know, I hope Blizzard does a good job with this, because I love Overwatch and I'd like to see the competitive side of it and the esports side of it do well. And that is going to do it for me here today, guys. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think about any of the topics discussed here today in the comment section below. Hope you all have a good one. Till next time, I'll see you later.